لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.
In seeking Islamic knowledge, what are the signs that the knowledge that I'm seeking is the correct type of knowledge?
So what are signs that what the knowledge one is seeking is the correct knowledge? So there's two aspects to it. Firstly, one should be careful about where one gets one's knowledge from. Right? One should be careful about where one gets one's knowledge from, because this is the very purpose of life. Right? That life, we're on earth and we have responsibilities in this life, things that we have to do, things that we're interested in, our inclinations. But if you just consider our worldly decisions, right? No one decides to get married that, you know what, I saw this sister, let me marry her. Usually you try to find out at least a little bit, often a lot. Or you're considering someone to marry. Or if you are buying a house, you don't just say, oh, that house looks good, I'll buy it. Unless you're extremely wealthy, but you would do some due diligence. You check, and you get the right kind of assessments. Likewise, if you buy a car, and most people make very careful decisions when it comes to their worldly choices. If you are choosing a university to study at, or you're studying a job, considering a job, you consider carefully. But often when it comes to our religion, we just go on YouTube, whatever video shows up, we'll just click on it and start listening. And then often, or it just comes up on your Facebook feed, or you saw some little clip someone shared on Instagram, so you're like, oh. And so we get very confused and sometimes conflicted and sometimes troubling understandings of religion. So one needs to have some due diligence. Firstly, to make sure that the person who's transmitting this knowledge is in fact qualified to transmit what they're transmitting. So one verifies that. And a title is not sufficient, because anyone can put a title in front of their name. Right? You need to make sure. And one of the simple ways of making sure is just like when we go to the doctor. If you want to go to a specialist, what do? Your family doctor will make a recommendation. Right? They will make a referral. But even then, people make sure. So I had certain specialists that I need to go to. So someone was suggested to me. So I was talking to my dad about it. He said, check him out, check them. Because I was very disappointed at the first interview, the first appointment. So check him out on Rate MDs. And the guy had like 1.6 stars. And the minimum you had to give at least 1 star. So then we looked for another specialist. And the one that was referred to us by an old friend of mine, he had 4.7 stars. But we verify in worldly things. We should also be very careful whom you wouldn't just get a heart surgery with just any random person. Oh, I saw this guy's video on YouTube. Seems like he knows what he's talking about. So here I am and here's my heart. What about your spiritual heart, which is what you'll present to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment? So we need to be careful that the person is in fact qualified. But even then, qualification is not sufficient. Our religion is a lived religion. So particularly if you're going to be studying with somebody, you need to take the means of verifying that this person is upright in their conduct, that they're someone who can be trusted in matters related to how you're going to live your religion and the guidance that you will uphold. So be very, very careful. The early Muslims would say regarding this matter is your religion, your life transaction with Allah. So let each of you look carefully where they take their religion from. And in that respect, one should consider carefully before one commits to anybody, even if they're very famous. And then also, our religion is one of balance in that even if you do study with somebody, right, we take our religion from the qualified, but our religion is not dependent on people. Religion is about your relationship with Allah. So in order to learn about that relationship with Allah, we need the assistance of the learned, etc. But we trust them insofar as they're worthy of trust. If they act in ways, etc., that are problematic, we leave them for the truth. And what is the truth? That which is embodied by the Prophet ﷺ. Right? So we should be clear about that too. That if someone says or does something dismaying, then everyone can make some mistakes, but if someone's frequently acting and doing things that are contrary to prophetic guidance, then one should have some wariness. Right? And one of the great scholars of Islam, Al-Harith Al-Muhasibi, in his work Risalatul Mustarshideen, the treaty for seekers of guidance, he said that there's 3 qualities. That if the knowledge that you're gaining is bereft of, then it's a proof against you and not a proof for you. وَكُلُّ عِلْمٍ لَا يَصْحَبُهُ ثَلَاثَةً فَهُوَ مَزِيدٌ فِي الْحُجَّةِ عَلَيْكَ. That any knowledge that is not accompanied by 3 qualities, it will serve as a proof against you. The first is كَفُّ الْأَذَى بِقَطْعِ الرَّغْبَةِ. The first is that you withhold harm by not being excessively avid for the merely worldly. Okay? That you don't harm people. Right? So someone who's a wrongdoer, right, in their financial dealings, in their relationships, etc., if you're learning and you're still actively wronging people, then that's a proof against you. Right? Then you need to seek specialized treatment. That what am I doing wrong in my religion? I'm learning, but I'm still bad to my parents, wronging my spouse, etc. And the least of it is to be aware of it and to be working on it. Secondly, and likewise with people, like be careful of those who may have great knowledge, but they're harming other people actively. وَوُجُودُ الْعَمَلِ بِالْخَشْيَةِ. And the second is the presence of action, of religious works with reverence. Right? That it's not just a matter of talking about the good, but you see the person acting upon the sunnah, living the guidance, striving to, with a sense of reverence, khashya. And the third is وَبَذْلُ الْإِنصَافِ بِالتَّبَاذُلِ وَالرَّحْمَةِ. And the third is that they be expressively fair in their dealings, such that they are very giving and very merciful to others. Right? So these are 3 qualities that are a sign that the knowledge you're gaining is benefiting you. Firstly, that you are better able to withhold harm. Right? Harming others financially, harming others who have rights over you, parents, spouse, children, siblings, friends. You're better able to hold your tongue. Secondly, that you're striving to act upon your knowledge, acting upon the sunnah with a sense of reverence. That's what you seek from the knowledge that you seek, and these are qualities in those you seek knowledge from. And the third is to be expressively fair and good in dealings with others by being expressively giving and expressively merciful. Why? Because these are essential characteristics of the Prophet ﷺ himself. So these are 3 signs of beneficial knowledge given by Al-Harith Al-Muhasibi. And this beautiful work is very capably translated and commented upon by the amazing Imam Zayd Shakir, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve him. And he's also taught it, so the book is published, Treatise for Seekers of Guidance, translated by Imam Zayd Shakir, and it is also available as a CD set. I don't know if it's available for download anywhere. That Imam Zayd explained the full text, and it's full of benefit, mashallah.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله